The race for promotion in League Two is hotting up.
They've done it! They've scored again! Oh yes! It's unstoppable! Astonishing! Where will the driver end?
After some marvellous mid-season form, Southend looks certainties to go up. But 1 point from 4 games has seen the pack close in. The Shrimpers need to win here to regain top spots and keep themselves on course for a return to League One.
Can he finish? Oh yes! A fantastic goal!
Gillingham are also eyeing promotion, but after a fast start, they've struggled for consistency. They're currently outside the top 7, but can get back in the playoff places with victory tonight. Tonight's live football comes from N-Power League 2. We're at the Priestfield Stadium where rising temperatures and a huge effort from the ground staff means it's game on between Gillingham and Southend, and it's available in high definition and via Sky Go. Well, after another weekend of postponements in the Football League, this is how things are shaping up at the top of League 2. And with Cheltenham and Crawley playing tomorrow night, Southend had the chance to grab top spot once again with 3 points this evening. For Gillingham, well, they've yet to play in February, having had their last 2 games postponed and have lost their last 3, but despite this dip in form, they remain just outside the playoff places. So, 2 teams with very realistic ambitions of playing League One football next season, but both teams out of form can either rediscover their touch tonight and to get their respective promotion pushes back on track. Delighted to say Nicky Forster is my guest tonight, who started a prolific career here at Gillingham, just been given a massive welcome by the stadium announcer. I imagine it's very good to be back, and I imagine for the Gillingham players, after 2 weeks without a game, huge relief they're back playing.
Yeah, it's an absolute nightmare when you're not playing. You train all week for a purpose, and when that purpose is taken away from you, which it has done in this situation, then you just want to get back out there and play.
We'll talk about Gillingham in more detail in just a while. Let's start with Southend, the visitors tonight. Had that wonderful unbeaten 12-match run between September and November. 3 defeats in their last 4. They've conceded 10 goals as well. Is this a blip, a bit of a rut, or them feeling the heat?
I think this is a bit more than a blip. You know, they're when you're at the top, you're there to be shot at, and you know they've had a poor run now, and they've dropped off that top spot. So they'll need to get back some winning momentum, and they'll go back to basics. I think they'll try and bring in some of the older heads tonight and try and just consolidate, get a win under their belt, and then push on again.
Only a couple of days for them to recover from that 2-0 defeat to Rotherham on Friday night. Paul Sturrock had some very interesting things to say off. He's clearly not happy with the performance, but he said, I'm only going to pick players who follow his instructions. He's only made 4 changes tonight, but what does that tell us about what's going on in the dressing room when he says those kind of things?
Well, that shows that, you know, his patience is wearing thin with some of the individuals. You know, he's saying that he wants players to do as they're told. He doesn't want them to do what they want to do. Things are not going their way. Do it my way or don't play at all.
But he said we suddenly seem to have a team who think they know better. Does that perhaps suggest within that dressing room 1 or 2 Russians appearing?
Well, I don't know about that, but sometimes when you're winning games, you're playing well, you're top of the league like they were, there's sometimes just that little bit of arrogance that creeps in where you think that bring the next ones on, we'll just dispatch them as well. And then sometimes you lose your game and then the next one, and then you're under a bit of pressure. And that's what they are at the moment. And he's saying, listen, this is the way I want it, do it my way.
Well, this will be seen as a huge opportunity for them tonight. OK, they're playing their neighbours, but they've got a great chance to retake that top spot. Yeah,
both got a lot to play for, haven't you? You know, Gillingham can go up into the top 6 if they win tonight, and Southend can take top spot again. So it's huge game.
Squad-wise, enough for you across the long term of this season to deliver? Enough experience?
Yeah, I think they have. You know, I think Swindon, for me, you know, are the outstanding team. The form-wise, they are the team, you know, to beat, I think. Crawley as well, they've got huge wealth of talent in their squad, although they've let Tubbs go. Yeah. I still think that they've got enough strength in depth to get up. So I think a lot of teams are fighting for that 3rd spot, but I think Southend are probably good enough to take it.
Right, let's hear from the 2 managers then, starting with the Southend manager, Paul Sturrock. He's alongside Patrick Davison.
Paul, you said after Friday night's game that you were basically back to a blank sheet of paper with regard to team selection. In the end, you made 4 changes. How have you come to the decision with regarding your team that you have?
Well, I had a chat with them all, and a few of them have bit the dust selection-wise tonight, and some have been warned it's their last chance saloon. So unacceptable, 1 or 2 of the performances lately, and the results obviously. And it's time to payback time for some of the players.
What do you think that is? Why has the winning formula deserted you?
Well, you know, we had a team meeting about it over the weekend. You know, a lot of words was said. Hopefully, as I said, they'll take action into the game rather than words.
Top with a win. How important is it that you take that opportunity?
Well, we'll go top of the league if we win tonight. It's a difficult place to come. We know it's going to be a difficult game. Players are approaching it properly, and we're looking forward to the challenge of tonight.
So Andy, no game all month, and that after a couple of defeats. How desperate are you and your players just to get out there and get playing football tonight?
Yeah, I think obviously it's been a tough couple of weeks with not playing and training very disrupted, I've got to say. So I think looking at the training the last couple of days, I think they're chomping a bit to get out there tonight and play a game. You're
into the playoff places with a win. How big an incentive is that?
Oh, massive. And we've had a rough month of games. You know, a few defeats in there. So great opportunity tonight to get back into the playoffs, and hopefully we can get on a decent run there.
19-year-old goalkeeper, Argentine, Paulo Gazzaniga makes his full Football League debut tonight. What can you tell us about him?
Well, I mean, he obviously he's a young boy, but you know, he's got his opportunity now. He played in the FA Cup against Bournemouth, done ever so well. He came on against Accrington a couple of weeks ago. You know, he's a big boy, and as I say, he's one definitely for the future. He's got his opportunity tonight, and hope he does well.
Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, big opportunity for Paulo Gazzaniga with Ross Flitney having that knee surgery after the injury picked up against Accrington. He's played every league game so far, but in comes Gazzaniga tonight. They've conceded 10 goals in their last 3 at Nicky. Does this freshen things up, or perhaps insert an element of uncertainty into the back four?
Well, you never know how it's going to go, but he's got a baptism of fire, hasn't you, with that amount of goals conceded in the last couple of games. But he's a young boy, you know, they've got a lot of faith in him. They really do value him highly here, so he'll want an early catch or a cross or a save to make just to get that confidence. But if you're in the Southend dressing room, you're saying to them, have an early shot, let's test this lad out.
And he comes into a team horribly out of form in terms of the league. They've not been playing for the last couple of weeks. They've lost their last 3 in a row. So how then would you look at that break that's been forced on them by the weather? Chance to regroup, to reshape, to refocus, or has it come at a horrible time?
No, I mean, as I say, you know, players train for a purpose, and whether you're in a good form or poor form, you want to play again. If you're winning games and you're in good form, bring the next team on, let's get rid of them. You know, you feel good, but when you're on a bad run, you want to get back out there straight away, put the wrongs right, and get back into that winning momentum, like I say.
Ambition-wise for them, is it playoffs or perhaps more?
I think at this stage, you know, they would accept playoffs. I think if you go into the playoffs, certainly if you go in with good form, then it's a little bit of a lottery, but we've seen it so many times, teams creep into the playoffs late on in the season and go up, you know, so I think at this stage, playoffs they take.
I don't want to put the mockers on this, but we are seeing Southend, the top scorers in this league, against the 3rd best scorers, which begs the question, are we expecting goals?
0-0 for me.
Yeah, say that. We'll get 4-4.
Yeah, let's hope so. Listen, I think, you know, we're looking for a good game of football, aren't we? But there's a lot at stake. I would expect that you look at Paul Sturrock's words there. If he's saying that on the outside, I should imagine there's a lot stronger words going on within the dressing room. So I would expect them to come out with a really fast tempo tonight to try and show their manager that they're up for it.
Prediction?
2-2.
Excellent. But as the crow flies, not an awful lot divides these two clubs. It's only around about 14 miles, but if you're coming right around the Thames Estuary, if you don't happen to have a boat, it takes an awful lot longer. Looks like he's enjoyed his journey. Let's see if our commentators enjoy the game ahead. It's Andy Hinchcliffe and First Dean Crocker.
Thank you, Simon. Well, Gillingham make 3 changes from their last game at Accrington. Ross Flitney and Charlie Lee are both injured, and Jack Payne drops to the bench. 19-year-old Argentine keeper Paulo Gazzaniga makes his first league start. Matt Lawrence and Curtis Weston also come in. Gavin Tomlin has scored 4 goals in the last 3 games, but Danny Kedwell is the top scorer with 11. Paul Sturrock was raging with his players after Friday night's defeat to Rotherham, and he has made 4 changes tonight. Out go Peter Gilbert, Ryan Hall, Anthony Grant and Elliot Benyon. In come Luke Prosser, Mark Phillips, Dave Martin and Kane Ferdinand, cousin of Rio and Anton. Sean Clohessy faces his former club. Gillingham subs Connor Essam, Jack Evans and Darren Hawkes have all just been recalled from non-league loans. Southend sub Neil Harris spent a season on loan at the Priestfield Stadium a few years back. Both teams wobbling lately, but they haven't fallen too far off the pace, Andy.
No, they have. They've been in really poor form, both these sides, and they have just slipped down League Two. If they can get back to winning ways tonight, then promotion is still very much on the cards for both of them.
2 teams who came down together in 2010, both relegated to the bottom division. Gillingham just missed out on the playoffs last season. They coped rather better following relegation than Southend, who came 13th. But when the teams met earlier in the season in Essex, Southend won 1-0. The late winner from Mark Phillips, even though they were down to 10 men after Bilal Mosni had been sent off. Southend need to rediscover the kind of form that saw them go 12 matches unbeaten earlier in the season. Gillingham need to rediscover the kind of form that had them sitting in a very comfortable position for so long as well. They may have stumbled and stuttered in recent weeks, but they have the chance to put things right tonight. And what a difference 3 points would make to these sides. Gillingham in particular raring to go because their last 2 games were postponed, so they haven't played for over a fortnight since that 4-3 defeat at Accrington Stanley. Southend's games were unaffected by the weather. They played on, drawing at Plymouth and losing at home to Rotherham. Two teams who may be in the worst form of their season, but they are still in touch with where they want to be. Southend could go top, Gillingham could hit the playoff zone. 90 minutes that really matter from the Priestfield Stadium coming next.
Tonight's live football comes from the Priestfield Stadium. Two teams whose form recently has been a bit like the weather, somewhat cold, but it's Gillingham against Southend, and your commentators Andy Hinchcliffe and first Ian Crocker.
Yes, they both need to make up lost ground and make up for lost games. Paul Sturrock blasted his players after their defeat to Rotherham at Roots Hall on Friday night and dropped 4 of them for this game tonight. I think they know how he feels. Southend have lost 3 of their last 4. Gillingham have lost their last 3. And the last 2 of those, both 4-3 defeats. The goals have been flying in at both ends. Southend are the leading scorers in League 2, playing in their cherry voltage away kit tonight. That's pink to you and me, I think.
I was going to say, for both managers, they're going to have to work very hard just to lift the spirits of their players. Even though you look at the league table, you think, well, things aren't so bad, but on current form, both these sides really need to lift their game. They need a solid performance tonight, and both managers will have been drilling that into the players. Do not give silly goals away.
Roger East is about to get us going at the Priestfield Stadium. Two teams stuck in a rut, but all is far from lost. They can soon turn things around, and that will be their aim tonight. It is a big match for both, as they look to end their indifferent recent form. Luke Prosser, one of 4 changes made by an angry Paul Sturrock, whose Southend side played on Friday night, whereas Gillingham not only had the weekend off, their game at Burton postponed, they've had over 2 weeks off, which is perhaps not so suitable for them. It's gone out the stadium, so Matt Lawrence needs a new ball. Still playing at the age of 37. He was at Millwall for many years and then Crystal Palace. First league start in Gillingham's goal for the 19-year-old Argentine. Paulo Gazzaniga, released by Valencia, came on in the second half at Accrington, at which point Gillingham were 4-1 down. So he kept a clean sheet for 45 minutes.
Yeah, he's got all the physical attributes to be a top goalkeeper. 6'5", nice and agile. It's all about playing games now at 19 years old. You just need to be out there experiencing the Football League. He's got his chance tonight.
Southend, who have been top for so much of this season, will be back on top if they win here, despite their recent wobble. And the Gillingham success will see them return to the playoff zone, and all of a sudden everyone will be feeling rather better about themselves than they have been lately.
There's no surprise, actually. Paul Sturrock made 4 changes to his starting lineup. That poor performance against Rotherham, he led the right attack to his team, and just the way they're lining up here, they've got Kane Ferdinand just playing in front of the midfield 4, in behind Liam Dickinson. So if they're looking to test the young goalkeeper in the Gillingham goal, they've got to get some support up to the big centre forward.
Ferdinand makes contact there, so does Liam Dickinson. but it's Gillingham's throw. Dickinson usually a handful, joint top scorer for Southend. Lewis Montrose, turned away by Chris Barker. And now here's Prosser. Offside, Dickinson. Southend have only lost once in their last 7 encounters with Gillingham, so they certainly have the upper hand. Beat them with 10 men earlier in the season. Richards with a free kick. Prosser almost entangled with Gavin Tomlin, but here he is, Tomlin. Now Kaffour. It's gone behind Tomlin though, and it's cleared by Kalala, although he sliced it away for a corner.
Yeah, he just lost his footing there, John-Paul Kalala, as he looked to clear his lines, and he's heaped a lot of pressure on his team here, just not being able to clear the ball back up the field, but they're really lively, Gillingham. Joe Kaffour, Gavin Tomlin, very clever players, just a loss of footing there from Kalala.
Danny Jackman, just 5'4", will look for some rather bigger boys in the box from this corner. That was Danny Kedwell who was showing interest, and duly dealt with admirably by Barker. Kedwell, a powerful presence and a prolific goal scorer for AFC Wimbledon last season as they won promotion to the Football League. Early pressure from Gillingham. Another Jackman corner, which is dispatched by Kalala, making rather better contact this time.
There's a poor ball in actually from Danny Jackman. He has a great left foot, scored a peach of a free kick at Accrington, and his delivery is normally better than that, and 3 of the back forward actually come up for Gillingham. They're a big side, and if Jackman can get the service right from set pieces, they will be a threat.
Joe Martin. That's a free kick for Southend. Both teams eyeing promotion to League One. Both aiming to overcome recent blips in form though. Here's Dickinson. Turned away though by Richards.
Yeah, I talked about the Gillingham aerial threat, and Bill El-Mosni is a very versatile player, playing on the right-hand side for Southend. He's a big lad, and you can see there the keeper trying to pick him out. He was the player that just headed that ball on.
Hesse with a throw, a former Gillingham player. Michael Timlin made a permanent move from Swindon in January.
Well, they've had the start to the game I probably would have expected. Both managers will, I'm sure, similar kind of team talks. Don't give anything away in the first 5 or 10 minutes. Both sides very keen to get the ball forward and put pressure on the opposition defences.
Andy Hessenthaler, 46 now. He played until he was 44 with Dover, and looks like he could probably still pull the shirt on. A fierce competitor. Martin, skipping away from Mosny. He gets his long legs in there, and it's come off Martin. It'll be a Southend throw. Which Clohessy will take. Left Gillingham in 2009. Kedwell. Kaffour. Gillingham will settle for that. They've made a positive start.
That's really good work from Danny Kedwell, the big centre forward. He is the target man. He's the least mobile of the Gillingham front 3. They look to play into him and then get Kaffour and Tomlin just playing in and around him.
Away by Kalala. Liam Dickinson on his own. Gillingham were 3-1 up with 17 minutes to go in their last home game here against AFC Wimbledon, and somehow contrived to lose it 4-3, and then would you believe it, went to Accrington and lost 4-3 again. They have won 4-3 this season though, plus 5-2 and a 6-1, so never a dull moment when Gillingham are around.
Yeah, those 3 consecutive defeats they've had, they've conceded those 10 goals, but it's the manner, the way that the cheap goals they're giving away. We're at the game against Accrington, conceded 4 first-half goals, and all of them were really avoidable. So Andy Hessenthaler would have been working on his defence, and they need to really tighten up. Simple mistakes have been costing them.
Usually goals galore when Southend are around as well. Barker's got to be careful here with Kedwell. He's been around a while, Chris Barker.
That's the one thing that Southend have to be careful of, is the ball in behind, but Kedwell is not necessarily the quickest, and Barker, you see defenders do this so many times, not worried about the ball, just shepherding the player away from it to make sure he gets the goal kick.
You might remember him from his Barnsley days in Cardiff. Won by Mosney, and by Ferdinand, and by Frampton. Ferdinand again, but it's offside against Dickinson.
It's not comfortable possession. They're getting the ball forward, but they need to really get it down on the floor. They're very keen just to keep nodding it on, and Dickinson there just a little bit lazy, doesn't get back on side quick enough.
Gillingham have only lost twice at home in League Two, so it is a fairly formidable fortress, the Priestfield Stadium. Only Shrewsbury and AFC Wimbledon have won here in the league. Lewis Montrose under pressure from Dickinson, and Mosney is found Clohessy, and he's not hanging around, and Ferdinand is unmarked, and Dickinson is there too, and Southend have an early lead as they look to get their season back on track.
Well, I talked about Gillingham giving away sloppy goals, and they just simply go to sleep defensively. Gazaniga has no chance of saving this, but when the ball comes in from the fullback Clohessy, the amount of time and space that Kane Ferdinand has, he should do a lot better with his header. He mistimes it. It actually comes off his shoulder. The ball comes in here. He just drifts in between defenders. No one picks him up. Matt Lawrence is not round on the cover. He should do better with that. And then they just go to sleep, Gillingham. They're not strong enough. And Dickinson just sweeps the ball home. But again, a very sloppy goal to give away. And it just heaps more pressure on the home side.
Well, we saw them at Accrington in their last game, and they pretty much defended like that most of the first half, Gillingham, didn't they?
Well, when that ball breaks from Kane Ferdinand as a centre-half, it's I think Gary Richards in there. You've got to get to the ball first. You maybe just have to clear it away. Put it in row Z. That's the safest place for it. They don't react. Dickinson does, and Southend take the lead.
Gillingham were 4-1 down at half-time at Accrington. They've conceded early yet again. Ferdinand couldn't believe the space he was in, even though it was a wonky header. Here's Kedwell, though, looking for a penalty that he's not going to get.
He's too strong, Mark Phillips there. Kedwell goes down far too easy. He's a big, strong centre-forward. He's saying there was maybe a flailing arm. The referee, Roger East, having none of it at all. There's no swinging arm there. It's just nice and strong, the centre-half. And Kedwell, for me, is just looking for the free kick as they get into the penalty area. As he may be looking for the spot kick. There's nothing in that.
Kafour. Away by Phillips. So an early setback for Gillingham. And they won't want that becoming a familiar feeling.
Yeah, when you're in a poor run of form, you've really got to react quickly. You've got to be nice and sharp. And Gary Richards here just doesn't get to the ball first. He's muscled off it by the centre forward. And if that happens, you're going to pay a heavy price.
Just what he wanted. after Friday night's debacle. Before, Jackman. Glenn Morris knew what he was up to.
It was an approach that Gillingham were going to try to force through in an attacking sense, just try and get Southend to squeeze up the field and then play the ball over the top, but they want Tomlin and before chasing forward balls like that. Kedwell's never going to reach them.
Dickinson on the prowl again. It's Mosney! Tremendous strike, but Gazaniga equal to it. Certainly packed a punch.
There's a decent save. It'll give the young goalkeeper bags of confidence as well. He just conceded. The shot comes in like this, you've got to make a save. But once again, Gillingham, they're just not closing the ball down. They're standing off, allowing Dickinson and then Mosney just to control the play and get shots away. It's a decent height for a big goalkeeper. Good save.
Glenn Morris quickly out to claim that. Mosney, Dickinson, Mosney, Ferdinand chasing, smothered by Gazaniga.
Well, Kane Ferdinand just running from deep positions is giving Gillingham lots of problems. He's on his way here, just the weight of the pass from Mosney, just too heavy. Once again, Gillingham looking a bit laboured in defence.
Tomlin. Hope here for Gillingham. Curtis Weston and Danny Jackman over this. Centre halves in the mix, naturally. Weston wasting it. Bounced off Dave Martin in the wall. Now Ferdinand.
That's the wrong choice for me. He got Weston and Jackman stood over the ball, and he's got a great left foot, Danny Jackman. And from that kind of position, just whipping that ball in nice and flat towards the far post, surely would give the centre halves up from the back and Kedwell something to attack.
Lawrence, knocked out by Prosser. Gavin Tomlin makes the run for Lawrence, but unable to do much with it.
It's really difficult for Gillingham. There's just no space at all for them to play in. They're leaving Liam Dickinson up the field, Southend. They're dropping everybody back in. Kane Ferdinand's dropping into midfield, and it's so congested. Andy Hessenthaler's side are really struggling to get any rhythm to their play.
Andy Hessenthaler in his second spell as manager. Well, he was player manager for 4 years. Ferdinand. Dave Martin. Gazaniga comfortably able to claim that. Southend would leapfrog Crawley and Cheltenham if they do win tonight and return to the top of the table. Liam Dickinson scored 21 goals in a season for Stockport not so long ago, and heading the same way now for Southend, his 12th of this campaign. Martin. These teams actually met 3 times last season, including a Johnston Paints Trophy tie, and all 3 games were draws. Southend won on penalties in the trophy. Kalala. Dickinson up against Frampton. Gillingham hoping to avoid a 4th successive league defeat. They haven't lost 4 in a row in the league, 4 years. Plenty of time to put things right here, but Southend do look threatening when they go forward.
Yeah, but have been playing, what, just short of 20 minutes, and some rumblings from the home fans already disappointed. The way their side are giving the ball away cheaply when they're in possession. That's what you get when you're on a poor run. You concede an early goal. You've got to be brave in possession and when the opposition have it.
The corner for Gillingham has given them some encouragement. Came off Phillips. Tomlin available for a short one if Jackman wishes. Jackman delivers, away by Mosney, the tallest of the lot. Martin, on by Kedwell to no avail.
There doesn't seem any real plan or rhythm to what Gillingham are trying to do. They're not trying to maybe get the fullbacks involved, get some width in their play. It's very direct. They're just playing it towards Kedwell and hoping that maybe something comes off. Either he gets hold of it or flicks the ball onto somebody else. And I think Andy Hessenthal's got to get the message onto his players. They need to take 1 or 2 touches, just slow the game down and try and get that ball moving.
Huge kick from Gazaniga. Flicked on by Kedwell, but straight through to Glenn Morris. Frampton underneath that and completely clattered by Mosney, but quickly up on his feet as all centre-halves should be.
It's a horrible one for a centre-half, though. You're looking straight down the pitch at the ball, and that's where your concentration is. Then suddenly a wide player comes in as Mosney does a crossing, trying to flick this ball on, and luckily at the last minute there, Mosney just drops his right shoulder. That could have been really nasty.
Gillingham desperate to get into their stride. Kedwell. Away by Prosser, but only to Jackman. Away by Phillips. Dave Martin. There's a sore one for Liam Dickinson. He stayed down, clutching his head. Dickinson gradually getting back to his feet.
When you're playing that lone striker role, of course, your teammates are going to look for you virtually every opportunity. You're going to get a few bangs, and Liam Dickinson here just seems to get caught by Guy Richards. A clash of heads, and that's a nasty one. Let's hope they've just come off with maybe just a bump, but it's one for strikers really. Every time the ball's played up there, he's going to expect pressure at his back because there's no one around him. He's going to do all the work himself.
So Dickinson has to go off for treatment. And Richards does the decent thing. The Champions League is back in town. Bayer Leverkusen take on Barcelona from 7 o'clock tomorrow on Sky Sports HD2. And Lyon face Apoel, who were so good in the group stage. That's on Sky Sports HD4 from 7:30. Gillingham need to do better than that.
Yeah, talked about bravery in possession, just an example of it there. Gary Richards just lumping that ball forward. There's no real idea, there's no game plan. He's looking just to turn maybe that Southend defence, but he's not looking for a teammate, and they've got to be brave. They've got to take some touches and be confident on the ball. It's not easy when you're a goal down.
Lewis Montrose certainly struck it cleanly.
That's the first bit of work for the Southend keeper, Glenn Morris. It's a long way out. And Montrose picks this ball up, and sometimes you try and catch the keeper out. If his concentration's not there, you might just sneak that past him.
Richards now for Lawrence. Kane Ferdinand posing a problem. Kalala. Ferdinand was coming back from an offside position. It's one again by Kalala. Flicked on by Kedwell. Still no Liam Dickinson back yet for Southend. He's getting the bandage. Always look the part when that happens. Kalala, the referee had a little think about that one, but eventually blew his whistle.
That's a couple of challenges now from Kalala. He is a very combative central midfielder. He believes he's done nothing wrong here. He likes to make challenges, just leans his body into Montrose, and I presume that's what the referee feels is enough to give the free kick.
Jean-Paul Kalala scored a famous League Cup winner for Grimsby against Tottenham back in 2005. I'm sure the Spurs fans remember that. Tony Jackman is the set-piece specialist, and he likes to have a go from range, although this is a fair distance. Scored a great free kick at Accrington. He's just going to float this one in, though.
Well, the one thing you've got to avoid if you're a set-piece taker for Gillingham, Danny Jackman's got to learn this quickly, keep the ball away from Bilal Mosny, because he's the biggest player on the field. And sometimes you've got to play the ball as far away from him and pick one of your other teammates out rather than maybe your biggest player that's gone up for you. It's the wrong choice, because Mosny is just going to win everything in the air, or at least put the opposition player off.
He's back, and he's noticeable.
It's a bit like Basil Fawlty with a pink shirt on, doesn't he?
He's bright from top to bottom. Dickinson not afraid to head that. Joe Martin. Mosny. Southend secure a throw. It will be taken by Sean Clohessy, who was in Gillingham's youth system. Well, he was in Arsenal's actually before he went to Gillingham as a lad. Kedwell. Lawrence. Cleared by Luke Prosser. His first appearance since the turn of the year. Paul Sturrock threatened to change his entire team after Friday's loss to Rotherham. Once he calmed down, he probably realised he didn't have enough players to do that. Made 4 changes in the end. He certainly won a few promotions in his time, though. With St Johnstone and Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday and Swindon. And now looking to do exactly the same with Southend United. Michael Timlin. It's bounced off Matt Lawrence. Lewis Montrose. Snuffed out by Dickinson. Richards will send it back to the teenage Argentine keeper who was with Valencia. Hello, Gazaniga. Tomlin. Here's Cafour, but not for long.
Gillingham really struggling still to put anything together at all. We have to admire how hard Southend are working. Paul Sturrock has set the side up to be very solid defensively. They're getting numbers back. That's not all important opening goal in the game. It's giving them the confidence, and of course Gillingham then have to press forward, take a few more risks, but so far Southend are standing pretty firm.
Worthy of the lead, Southend, with almost half an hour played at the Priestfield Stadium. Wozny. Ferdinand knew he was offside and let it go here for Martin, and they've scored again. Ferdinand was offside initially, but the officials made the correct call there, and Southend doubled their lead.
Yeah, I think Southend get away with it. It's Mosney who just plays the ball over the top, and he plays the ball out towards David Martin rather than Kane Ferdinand, who probably is offside. Get a chance maybe to see him as the ball breaks into midfield. It's always a Southend player first to the ball. And as it's played, it's debatable whether Kane Ferdinand is off. David Martin certainly isn't. And they're so slow to get back, Gillingham, and Martin can just take his time. It's an excellent ball. Keeper can do nothing. And they can just stumble the ball into the goal, but great little ball over the top from Mosney. It opens up Gillingham completely. And the second goal is inevitable.
I think he's claiming that. Scored 6 goals in 6 games in October and November. Nothing since until then. And here comes Southend again with Mosney. It's cannoned off Richards.
Oh, if Gillingham aren't careful here, this game could be done and dusted by half-time because they're defensively all over the place.
Cafour. Just wonder whether Joe Martin might have got the last touch on that.
It's a horrible one for defenders. David Martin does the right thing, puts it into the danger zone. Both of those defenders are heading back towards their own goal. It's virtually impossible to clear your lines from that type of position. You want to be facing up the field, not facing your own goal, and you just can't keep it out.
I'm sure Kane Ferdinand will fancy claiming it. Just the response required for Southend after they were given an ear bashing by their manager on Friday night.
Yeah, they've responded really well, but going back to that second goal, when that ball breaks into midfield for Mosney, the Gillingham back four, they just have to drop off because he has the time and space to play the ball over the top. They just squeezed up, and they can complain all they like about offside, but you can't squeeze up, leave that amount of space in behind you. There's one well-timed run, and suddenly you're 2 goals down.
Gillingham leaking goals at an alarming rate at the moment. It's been a fantastic response from Southend after their poor form of late.
When the ball breaks into midfield, you can see they just step up. Peter Frampton just steps up, and really, because there's no pressure on the ball, you have to drop off, you have to worry about what's in behind you. They all stop, they all put their arms up, appealing for the offside, and you just simply can't do that as defenders. And as this ball's played, he's not offside. Kay Ferdinand is at least level with David Martin, so there's no question about the goal standing.
Martin progressing nicely. Gillingham have to be wary not to concede again. But that's easier said than done the way they've been playing lately. Prosser was looking for Dickinson, it certainly never reached him. Kalala. Tomlin. Safe to say Gillingham need to score the next goal. Lewis Montrose has been penalised for the earlier challenge.
Yeah, the battle in central midfield has been comprehensively won by Kalala and Timlin. Everything that breaks in there, their first 2. Really across the board, they've been very competitive, Southend, and Andy Hessenthaler with plenty of thinking to do about how to get his side back in this game.
Conceded 4 against Wimbledon and Accrington, and already 2 down here. 10 minutes left in the first half. A baptism of fire on his first league start for Gazaniga.
You always look at a young goalkeeper and see the fact he's conceded 2, and you maybe think it's down to him, but goalkeepers are only as good at times as the defence in front of them, and on both the goals he hasn't been given any help at all.
Kalala. Timlin. Gazaniga. Came back off Dickinson.
You see the difference though when Southend play the ball forward over the top. It looks a fairly aimless ball, but it isn't from Timlin. It's weighted really well, and it gives Dickinson a chance of chasing it down, and could easily have cannoned off him back into his path.
Ferdinand for Martin. Dickinson again hounding Richards. Testing times for Gillingham.
Nice intelligent football from the away side. They're 2 goals to the good, and every time they get it, they're putting decent balls in there that give the centre forward a chance of retrieving it, or as we saw there, defender putting it out for a throw-in. Southend get the ball back.
Prosser with an unorthodox cross. Good punch from Gazaniga. Joker 4. Chapman available. Better this from Gillingham. Montrose and Tomlin. Tomlin able to get his cross in, but Mosney helping out. Martin, Jackman. Tomlin stumbling, Prosser able to clear it. And
but that is much, much better from Gillingham. The last two attacks, getting the ball into wide areas, getting decent crosses in.
Barker pipping Kidwell to that. Now Martin.
There's a question mark whether there was a possible hand in here from the Southend defender. There certainly wasn't. It comes off his thigh, and just a little bit of hesitation. Maybe should have shot there, Tomlin. He just decides to take an extra touch and just narrows the angle, and a decent opportunity passes by.
Richards' free kick, met by Kalala, sent back by Lawrence. Kalala there again. Tomlin, snuffed out by Timlin. So Martin's cross, Danny Kidwell. Another ball required. We've lost a couple over that stand. Wouldn't fancy getting that back, or that one. Job for you there, Andy, I think. Off the head of Lawrence. Just over 5 minutes remaining in the first half that has belonged to Southend United. Ferdinand, he's got the free kick.
He's played that role really well, Kane Ferdinand, just playing off Liam Dickinson. He's just being a real nuisance, but when the ball comes into him, his touch is good, he's getting hold of it. As we saw there, he's just drawing fouls and increasing the pressure on the Gillingham goal.
Timlin sent it in towards Phillips, who made good contact, but Danny Kidwell back there on defensive duty. Joe Martin, the son of Alvin Martin, former Southend manager. And a West Ham legend, of course. Jackman. Richards. Straight through to Morris.
And there's that ball once again. He's looking for Joe Kafour, who's the smallest player, really, that Gillingham have on the field. He's got absolutely no chance of getting on the end of that ball or taking it down and controlling it and allowing Gillingham to move up the field. It's just really a hopeful forward ball and just gives Kafour no chance at all.
Ferdinand on the prowl again. Gillingham felt he handled it, but the referee had a perfectly good view. Timlin unable to feed Dickinson that time. Southend have won 9 times on their travels in League Two this season. Across all 4 divisions, only Charlton have won more away games. Another new ball. Get through a few here during the course of the game. Timlin. Alvin's son, Joe, will take this throw. He was actually in West Ham's youth system for a while, and then Tottenham's. Dickinson. Ferdinand. It's come off Ferdinand, so it will be a Gillingham throw. But they could do with some sort of response before the break. Martin. One by Barker. One by Montrose. Kedwell now. Trying to make up for his poor layoff. Hesse in bother. Southend get the throw.
Hesse did actually well there because he was maybe looking to play back towards his goalkeeper, and he saw that that avenue had been cut off by Joe Kafour, and then to really try and wriggle away from three Gillingham attackers who were trying to nick the ball from him.
Chapman. Guided back by Barker. A month ago, Southend won 5-2 at Northampton and seem to be going along quite nicely, as they have been for most of the season, but since then they have taken only 1 point from 12. But they're in command at the Priestfield Stadium. Kalala. Ferdinand. Weston. Lawrence.
Whatever Paul Sturrock said to his players after that home defeat to Rotherham, it's paying dividends because they've come out of the traps quickly. They look really combative. They want to get in amongst Gillingham. They've got a couple of goals, and it's been a horrible first half for Andy Hessenthaler. A lot of work to do in the break to turn his team around.
Lawrence. And Danny Kedwell flung himself at that.
Well, Danny Kedwell's not going to score from this type of angle, but he does well. The crossfield ball, he's really got to head this back across the 6-yard box if he can, and really just can't make up the ground, get a decent header on it.
Lawrence. All rather aimless. Weston made sure he won that. Kafour. Jackman suddenly available. Kalala was quickly upon him. A minimum of 60 seconds stoppage time at the end of this first half. Joe Martin. Richards. Miserably off the head of Lawrence, though, kind of summing up Gillingham's half. Wouldn't want to be the Gillingham players going into his dressing room, would you?
Well, it's one of those team talks when your side is in a poor run of form and you have a poor first half like they've had. Sometimes the last thing you want to do is rip into your players, because it can get worse in the second half. It may be. So I think long and hard in the walk from the dugout to the dressing room. What is he going to say exactly to his players? Paul Sturrock, he's just going to say to his players, same again in the second half. They've been tremendous.
Graham Coughlin, his coach alongside him, who played for him at a few clubs. Two teams who've been out of form coming into this, but Southend have found some. Liam Dickinson opening the scoring, and their lead was doubled through an own goal from Joe Martin. The presence of Kane Ferdinand unnerving him. Southend are very much in the comfort zone at the moment. Half-time at the Priestfield Stadium. It's Gillingham 0, it's Southend 2.
Other good news for Southend, and the worry for Gillingham is in the games this season when Southend led at half-time, they are unbeaten. They're also the top scorers with 32 goals in the second half of league games this season. Nicky Forster is alongside me. His assessment on that first half when we come back. Whatever Sturrock said after the Rotherham game on Friday has worked. They're flying at half-time. They're set to return to the top, but a worrying half for the home side. The Champions League returns this week. We're into the knockout stages. Tomorrow it's Bayer Leverkusen against the holders Barcelona from 7 p.m. Sky Sports HD2. Lyon against Apoel, who went so well in the group stages, 7:30. Sky Sports HD4. Looking ahead to Wednesday, an early kickoff. Zenit St. Petersburg against Benfica on Sky Sports HD2. This Monday night at the Priestfield Stadium at half-time, it's Advantage Southend.
Ferdinand is unmarked, and Dickinson is there too, and Southend have an early lead. Ferdinand knew he was offside and let it go here for Martin, and they've scored. scored again, and Southend double their lead.
And the truth is, when Southend go ahead this season, they don't lose too often. Unbeaten in 18 when scoring first. So Nicky Forster for the home side, who at times in that first half lacked urgency and lacked a game plan. What do they do second half?
Well, you know, what does Andy Hessenthaler do? Does he go in there and rant and rave and throw the book at them? Or does he think, you know, they're a bit fragile at the moment, let's just ease off them, keep going, boys, try and probe, find those spaces. I think they've got to get on the ball more in wide areas. You know, when the wide boys have got on the ball, the deliveries into the box haven't been great, but if we can get decent deliveries in, the likes of Danny Kedwell will score goals.
And for Southend, for Paul Sturrock, more of the same, I guess.
Yeah, much of the same. You know, again, what does he do? He doesn't want to go in and big them up too much and say, fantastic, just, you know, game over, boys, well done. He's going to want to say, listen, I want another performance, another 45 minutes like that, and let's seal this game out.
It's such an imperious record when going ahead. Can you see the home side fighting back and getting into this?
Not in the first half performance I can, but I should imagine there'll be a much improved second half performance from Gillingham. There's got to be.
The GFC Gems have been welcoming the home side and Southend back onto the pitch. There's been very few gems in terms of the home side's performance in that first half. Can they pick up in the second? As things stand, Southend going back top of League Two. Let's rejoin Andy Hinchcliffe and Ian Crocker.
And Andy Hessenthaler's response to that abject first half showing from Gillingham is to make a couple of changes. Matt Lawrence, who stood and watched that first goal, has gone off. So has Lewis Montrose coming on. Jack Payne, who suffered an ankle injury at Accrington and was a doubt for tonight. He's only 20. Promising player, actually, who's come through the youth system here. And number 24 there, Jack Evans, is only 18. He's about to make just his second appearance for Gillingham. His first was as a sub against Torquay back in October. No great surprise that Andy Hessenthaler has mixed it up, but he's relying on two very young players to provide a spark.
Yeah, we knew they'd probably be substitutions. I just wonder whether he might change the shape, the formation of the side, but it's pretty much like for like, and that tells you he's very unhappy with the individual performances of Matt Lawrence and Lewis Montrose. That's why they're off.
Jack Evans, who's just been recalled from a loan spell at Welling United in the Blue Square South. Andy Hessenthaler having to recall a few of his players who were out on loan at non-league sides. Southend have been impressive. They have a 2-0 lead, and if they win tonight, they'll be back on top of the table, even though they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. Scoring really a problem for them. Top scorers in the league. They've now got 14 in their last 5 away games. This is Timlin, and now Dave Martin, who set up that second goal. He decided to have a go for goal that time.
I wondered how Southend would approach this second half. 2 goals to the good. I wondered if they might just sit a little bit deeper and maybe try and see the game out. But a really positive start. He's a long way out, Martin. He's got a good left foot. Just gets underneath it. But Paul Sturrock has obviously said to his men, go out and do exactly what you did in the first half in the second.
This has been more like the Southend we've seen for most of the season. Gillingham need to stand up and be counted after their wretched run of late. Joe Martin fending off Bilal Mojni. Gary Richards now. Tomlin took it well and has secured a corner.
Oh, that's much better. It just gives Gavin Tomlin a chance, that forward ball, to get hold of the ball. The long forward ball in the first half just played aimlessly up there. This time it's into his feet and he can twist and turn.
Needless to say, Gillingham would love to start the second half with a goal to get them back into this contest. Tony Chapman takes it. Payne and Mojni both went for that. Evans with a throw. Kafour. Frampton for Martin. Here is Jack Payne. Now Martin. Payne. Weston chasing this. Really got there as well. He had a particularly quiet first half, but he's retrieved this. They get a second go. Cleared by Kalala. Dickinson, who, as you can see, took a whack on the head in the first half. Chapman. Kafour. Kedwell. Mosney makes his presence felt, but here's Joe Martin. Nobody fast stick for Gillingham, though.
Yeah, but it's much better from Gillingham, more assured in possession. They're getting some width in their play as well, and in the left full-back forward, they're looking to deliver that early ball into the penalty area, but it had to improve from Gillingham. And whatever Andy Hessenthaler said at half-time, his players have gone out and because they're playing with a bit more aggression.
Southend have scored more goals away from home than at home this season, 12 more. In fact, Gillingham need to show some fighting spirit, not just in trying to get the ball here off Southend.
Yeah, it's all getting a little bit silly, and Kane Ferdinand, I don't know why he's getting involved in this, because the free kick had been given. He just looked to keep hold of the ball and stop Gillingham taking the free kick quickly.
Roger East will have a word with Kane Ferdinand. In fact, he is going to show me a yellow card.
I thought it was maybe just going to be a word, and I think Ferdinand is really surprised. It's his first really infringement in the game. And Roger East obviously believing that he's done enough to pick up the booking.
Jackman takes it. Richards able to steer it goalwards.
It's a carbon copy. I mentioned it in the first half. Gary Richards comes up from the back. He is one of their biggest players, but he's picked up by Bilal Mosney, who's Southend's biggest player, and Jackman's looking to pick him out all the time, and he's never won a single header from any set piece.
Well, they've had a bright start to the second half. Just look at that possession, but they needed to, frankly.
Yeah, getting hold of the ball is one thing. They need to start creating a few opportunities, putting some real pressure on Glenn Morris in that Southend goal.
Hesse for Mosney. Cleared by Frampton. That's about the 20th ball that appears to have gone over the roof by us. We'll need another one. So Hesse, former Gillingham player, will take this. Even though Gillingham have been out of form, they haven't slipped too far off the playoff pack if they somehow manage to turn it around tonight and win this. They would actually have gone back in the playoff zone. But it's a big task ahead for them as far as that is concerned. Southend dominant in the first half, but a few encouraging signs for Gillingham at the start of the second. That is a high one. It's away by Timlin. Southend looking good to do the double over Gillingham this season. Ferdinand challenging. Kedwell sandwiched. Weston got involved. Southend in no mood to budge. Clohessy. There it goes again.
There's been a really good balance to the way Southend have approached this game. Luckily that ball has come back off the roof, but you see there's tenacity. They want to win the ball back, and Michael Timlin there, you can see he's contesting the ball, winning it back, then getting his head up and passing the ball on the floor, and Southend have done that in really good measure. They've worked hard to get the ball and kept it well at times too.
Ferdinand makes a move for Clohessy. And it'll be another throw. Gillingham staring at a fourth straight defeat in the league and a fourth straight defeat at home, although one of those matches was against Premier League opposition in Stoke in the FA Cup. They took the lead in that game. I think Evans is going to make up ground there. There was a famous meeting between these sides back in 1987 when Gillingham beat Southend 8-1. Those were the days for Gillingham fans. Funnily enough, the week after they went and beat Chesterfield 10-0. Settle for a scrappy 1-0 win soon, the way they've been playing lately. Kalala returns it to Clohessy. This is Mark Phillips. Ferdinand challenging Martin. Gillingham were 4-1 down at half-time in their last match at Accrington, but played much better in the second half there. Finished 4-3.
There's absolutely no doubt with players like Gavin Tomlin, who got the goals up at Accrington. They can get back into games, but it's just very, very difficult for them. There's just no rhythm, and a little bit unlucky there, Chris Barker, as the ball cannons into him, and you can see he looks a little bit surprised that free kick has been given.
Young Jack Payne will take this. Gillingham desperate for a response to Southend's 2 first-half goals. It's come off the head of Gary Richards. Richards, who had a season at Southend a few years back. Scooped away by Joe Martin, down by Kalala, but here's Jackman, stopped by Phillips. Martin. Frampton. Hooked away by Kalala, sent back by Frampton. Painful for Kalala, caught by the boot of Curtis Weston.
He seems to just catch him in the chest, and Curtis Weston just saying he didn't know much about it at all. It can be really painful. You don't expect it. He's looking at the ball, Kalala, and then just gets a whack for his trouble. I'm just watching Gillingham come forward. The time has come now really for the front three to get the ball into feet. And you see the free kick once again, and we're just not seeing the ball into Kapoor, Kedwell, Tomlin. They're the key 3 attackers for Gillingham, and they're just simply not getting enough of the ball.
Neil Harris, who had a season on loan at Gillingham a while back, warming up for Southend, Millwall legend and their record goal scorer. Colour unimpressed with Weston giving him the big stare. By Mosney. Dickinson got there ahead of Frampton. Mosney is available in support, so is Clohessy. Danny Kedwell, one back by Timlin. Dave Martin, a recent arrival during the winter window from Derby County. Clohessy. Dickinson. Heavy touch from Clohessy.
It's a poor touch in the end from the fullback, but again, just 5 or 6 passes there from Southend. They just take the sting out of the game. They start to move forward, put pressure on Gillingham. We just haven't seen that from the home side at all. They've been so keen just to lump it forward and hope something comes off.
Here's Weston again. This time on Timlin, who, to his credit, was quickly on his feet, ready to get on with it.
It's a really poor kick from the goalkeeper. That encourages Timlin to go for this, and a little bit unfortunate, just goes to try and head the ball, catches the Gillingham player. It is a free kick.
Mosney. Approach the hour mark. Southend in a cracking position to return to the top spot, although they'll be wary that Crawley, who they play soon, and Swindon have a few games in hand on them because of their cut runs. It's a free kick for Kafour off Prosser. Gillingham in a hurry. It's Tomlin. It's going to be another free kick, and this is in a useful position.
Well, that's a lot sharper. More intelligent, just a little one-touch football between Tomlin and Kafour, and just a clip on Gavin Tomlin as he breaks forward. Actually, he makes a big meal of it, goes down looking for the free kick and gets it.
Danny Jackman is a bit of a free kick specialist for Gillingham. Floated in a wonderful free kick at Accrington in their last match.
There's a similar kind of position to this, and just whipped it over the wall into that top right-hand corner. Not sure whether he's even going to take this.
It's going to be Tomlin, is it? No, it is Jackman. Nicely worked. Although Southend eventually saw it coming, and here's Kalala. Chris Parker, who took the full force of that strike.
It's a very cold night, and that was really brave defending from Chris Parker. Came flying out as Danny Jackman looked to let that shot loose.
Jackman again for Martin. Andy Frampton now for Joe Martin. Jack Payne, Martin again. Kedwell. Evans. Kafour is there. Southend standing firm.
You see what a different team Gillingham can be when they play with some composure out from the back. A good 10 passes or so, and keeping possession really well and forcing Southend to do some defending.
Drilled across by Evans. Blasted away by Timlin, but it's soon coming back. Here's Danny Jackman now, looking to make it happen. Jackman again. Martin. Tomlin. Gillingham probing at least.
Yeah, it's the first bit of concerted pressure they've really had in the game, but as yet they've just not tested Glenn Morris at all, really, in that Southend goal. They need to get some crosses in, and they desperately need the next goal in the game to give themselves a chance.
Losney proving rather effective for obvious reasons. Kafour. Tomlin. Just can't get a clear side of goal, but they're giving it their best shot now, much better compared to their first half showing. Dickinson muscling in. Timlin looking here for Ferdinand. Both of them left in a heap. Frampton takes over. Southend are going to bring on Ryan Hall soon. One of the players axed from the starting lineup by Paul Sturrock tonight. Kedwell. Richards. Kafour chasing, shadowed by Barker. Weston and Kedwell nearby. Payne. Weston. Kafour. Tomlin came to meet it. Keeper Morris reacted well. Gillingham fans encouraging their team here. A goal for the home side would certainly change the picture at the Priestfield Stadium. Dickinson chasing this, and keeper came for it, Gazaniga.
They're starting to actually pass the ball around a lot better, and if you get the ball into the feet of Gavin Tomlin, he is an intelligent player with quick feet. He does well, he just makes half a yard, gets the shot away, and really that's the first decent save Glenn Morris has had to make, and it's taken, what, 65, 66 minutes.
Dave Martin, who set up the second goal, being replaced then by Ryan Hall. 11 goals for him so far this season. Didn't score in his first 24 games for Southend, but has managed 20 in 60 matches since, which is a pretty good average. Even I can work out. It's 1 in 3.
Yeah, David Martin was really only the natural width that Southend have in their side, and with him now going off, you can see Paul Sturrock is just putting Ryan Hall in there just to keep it really congested, really tight in central midfield to stop Gillingham getting hold of the ball. But you can see the home side dominating possession, and they're finally forcing the Southend keeper to make a save.
Gillingham are the third highest scorers in the league, but they need to get a few more glimpses of goal for all their possession. They need to somehow find a way back.
Again, it's a lot more encouraging for the home side, but it's all about turning dominance into decent opportunities, and the goal, that's simply what they need, and that'll give them a huge boost and will make it for a very interesting final 20 minutes or so.
Losney saw Gazaniga off his line. To Martin, being watched today by his old man. Not that old, perhaps. Alvin, who spent a short time as Southend manager. Their old time ago now. Goes to watch his boys every week. His other son is goalkeeper at MK Dons. Frampton. Gazaniga almost caught out by Richards' back pass. Dickinson. Clohessy. Kalala. Ferdinand. Dickinson offside.
Well, Liam Dickinson had that resigned look on his face as soon as Kane Ferdinand turned to face him. You could see him saying, "Don't give me the ball. I know I'm offside," but good, patient build-up from Southend again. Every time they go forward, they do look dangerous.
But Paul Sturrock's side still sitting pretty on their 2-0 lead, which they had at half-time. Gillingham know they need to arrest their recent slump. They're away to Port Vale next, then they have 3 home games against Rotherham, Torquay and Hereford. Martin has lost out to Mosney, but Payne got the ball. Oh no, he didn't, according to referee Roger East.
I'm convinced this was a foul. The ball seems to be running away from Mosney. Payne comes in, it's a great challenge, and maybe it's just the... Is it possibly the follow through the referee sees, but he certainly won the ball.
He had a bit to say about it to the ref. Into the last 20 minutes at the Priestfield Stadium. What a waste from Timlin. Championship action ahead for you. On Friday, 7:30 on Sky Sports HD2, it is Reading against Burnley. So many teams fancying a crack at promotion from, well, all the leagues in the Football League. Southend went a massive 12 matches unbeaten earlier in the season. They were due a blip, I suppose. Looking like they've turned things round after imposing themselves on the first half of this game. Frampton. Tomlin. Martin. Weston. It's come to Danny Jackman. Evans was available on the right touchline, but Jackman decided on a change of plan. Martin. Southend not too bothered by this, it's not hurting them. Not yet anyway. Jackman. Weston came on as a sub for Millwall against Manchester United in the 2004 FA Cup final. Martin. Richards. Kedwell. Here's Andy Frampton. Richards. Gillingham's defensive deficiencies showed up again in the first half, but Southend did play well in that half, to their credit.
Well, they completely dominated the first 45 minutes. They were helped on their way by some really sloppy Gillingham defending. Great first touch from Gigginson, good finish, and they tried to play a high line, tried to play offside. Gillingham were caught out with the Martin own goal.
Well, they left Roots Hall on Friday with criticism ringing in their ears. Southend, and there was a team meeting over the weekend as well. Seems to have had the desired effect for Paul Sturrock. Andy Frampton seems to be rather serious, clutching his ankle.
I just wonder if it's one of those, as you go to make a challenge, and just as you land awkwardly does, he just maybe collides with Mosney, who does nothing wrong and just rolls. That ankle can be really painful, and you can see Andy Frampton really struggling here.
Well, they do have a young defender on the bench, Connor Essam, but not really what Andy Hessenthaler would have wanted. One of his more experienced players, previously with Millwall.
There's one more change that he could possibly make. Andy Hessenthaler has Chris Weltdale on there, more forward-thinking player, but it looks like he's going to be forced into making a change here with that injury to Andy Frampton.
19-year-old Connor Essam, one of a few players recalled from non-league loans. He was with Dartford in the Blue Square South, and this is going to be his Gillingham debut. Only 19. Frampton's going to have to be helped off here. Doesn't look too clever at all.
It's one of those challenges as a centre-half. You just concentrate on the ball, you jump and head it, and you're really not prepared for the landing, and it's just that he just rolls his ankle as he collides with Mosney, and it's because you simply can't prepare yourself and you can't plant that left ankle. That's why he's rolled it, and that's why he's coming off.
The captain's armband has transferred to the man who was his partner at the back, Gary Richards. And on comes young Connor Essam for his Gillingham debut. Out on loan at Bishop Stortford at the start of this season, then Dartford. It's a big moment for the lad as he takes his Gillingham bow.
It's not ideal circumstances, of course, when you're a young man coming into a team that's 2 down and struggling for form, but you just want to get out there playing, and at that kind of age, it's just fantastic to stick on a Gillingham shirt and get out playing for the first team.
Gillingham running out of time in their quest to show their powers of recovery. They nearly salvaged a point at Accrington Stanley in their last game, which because of the weather was over 2 weeks ago. 4-1 down at half-time, got back to 4-3. The goals haven't quite come for them in the second half, even though they have been dominant.
Well, they had to improve after a very poor first half, but aside from one shot from that man, Gavin Tomlin, that Glenn Morris handled fairly comfortably, they've very rarely threatened.
Well, I'll have to assess that injury to Andy Frampton. Getting strapped up. Sent into the stand by the new arrival, Connor Essam. So Hesse ready to take this throw. Tomlin. Kalala. Evans. Kedwell. Prosser. Barker. Dickinson. Ryan Hall.
He certainly had a quieter second half, Liam Dickinson, but he's so impressive. Another injury. It looks like Jack Payne has picked up a problem here. So the last thing Gillingham need. This looks a nasty one as well. That right knee's clutching, and let's hope it's not too serious.
Well, they've used all their subs, having just brought on Essam, and that was a needs-must case with Frampton injured.
It's when you see a player go down and not move and start beating the floor, that just simply blocks the ball. Probably just opens up that knee joint. You can just tweak your medial ligaments as your knee relaxes and you block that ball. It can be really painful.
Payne in pain. Andy Hessenthaler will be hoping that he will be able to carry on, having used all his subs. Jack Payne went off injured in the last match, actually, in Accrington Stanley, with an ankle problem, and he was a big doubt tonight, and only involved from the bench. Maybe the pain is subsiding. Looks all right.
I'll tell you one thing, if he had really damaged those medial ligaments, there's no way he would be able to get up and carry on with the game. Let's hope he's just tweaked the knee and he's able to recover and carry on.
Long throw from Prosser. Away by Richards. Payne has returned as we head into the last 10 minutes at the Priestfield Stadium. Southend were 2 up by half-time. Gillingham have improved, and they certainly had to. But nothing to show for their efforts. Gillingham heading for only a third home defeat in League Two this season. Second in a row, mind. On Essam, across Liam Dickinson. Southend looking good for a first win in 5. Dickinson. Hall. Evans did enough, and now Weston. Back by Prosser. Payne. The youngster Essam won that. And Richards able to steer it back to Gazaniga. Southend have only lost 8 times in League Two this season, and 5 of those defeats have come in their last 10 matches. So this is just what was needed for Paul Sturrock tonight, if they can see this out.
And you get a sense that they're pretty happy with that 2-0 scoreline. They're not exactly playing with the urgency we saw in the first half, and it's understandable. A 2-goal lead. Haven't really been troubled too much by Gillingham, so they're just maybe just trying to see out the last 8 minutes or so of the game.
Paul Sturrock replaced the long-serving Steve Tilson in 2010. He does have a habit of forming promotion-winning sides. Tomlin unable to link up with Kuffour. The Hessenthaler back for a second spell. Gillingham's greatest ever player. Spent 10 years at the club as player and player manager first time around. Won a couple of promotions with Dover before returning. difficult spell for them. Leaking goals and losing matches. Chapman onto this. Ball. Prosser. Connor Essam taking no chances.
Yeah, when things aren't going so well, of course, the buck stops with the manager. When you pick a team and send it out and then you see the mistakes, the defensive errors they keep making game after game, it's hard to know what to do. You only have a certain number of players, you can only change things so many times. But Andy Hessenthaler, a very experienced player, as you mentioned, and he is a good manager, and he'll learn a lot about himself and his players in this difficult run.
He's certainly a popular figure in these parts. For Hesse. Dickinson. Mosney. It's wide from Hall.
It's time and again it goes up to Liam Dickinson and it sticks, and he's able to bring teammates into play. He's had a really terrific night.
Now Dickinson was a little late here. And Roger Rees will come across and brandish a yellow card.
It's one of those challenges you see from strikers. I don't know why he's really making this. He doesn't need to probably go flying in here. There's nothing too malicious in it. It looks like that's going to be his last involvement in the game. There's a good chance he's going to be coming off.
Yep, Dickinson, who scored the first goal, his 12th of the season. He's going to be replaced here by 18-year-old Jack Sampson, who's on loan from Bolton Wanderers. He's going to make his third appearance for Gillingham.
Well, Liam Dickinson has been fantastic playing as a lone striker. It's one of the hardest jobs in football, and he's got a goal, the opening goal in the game, but he's led the line really well, and everything that's been played into him he's took hold of, and he's played very, very well for his side.
Kedwell helps it on. Kedwell again. Jackman. Can he get his shot away? Mosley made sure that he couldn't. But it is a corner. That means Chapman will take it. Final 5 minutes. Gillingham goal now could set us up for some finish. Chapman delivers. Here's Essam, but not for long. Mosley whipped it off his toes. Returned by Evans. Staying calm. Weston. Tomlin. Oh, it's a brilliant run here from Gavin Tomlin. What a fantastic goal. Brilliant from Tomlin. Has it come too late to save Gillingham? A sizzling strike.
And with just 5 minutes left, we really do have a game on now. It's brilliant individual skill from Gavin Tomlin. This is what he's capable of. It all comes from the Gillingham goalkeeper, actually, but once he's able to weave past 1 and 2 players, this is not an easy finish by any means. The keeper maybe thinks this is going to go across his body, but Tomlin absolutely rifles it into that top left-hand corner. It's a stunning finish, great individual brilliance, great balance, great footwork. What a goal.
Well, he's scored 5 goals in the last 3 matches now, got doubles against Wimbledon and Accrington, yet finished on the losing side. Thunderous effort from Gavin Tomlin. Suddenly, it's not quite so comfortable for Southend. Gillingham will be hoping they don't rue not grabbing a goal earlier.
And it just shows how different the game can be when you get the ball into the feet of players like Gavin Tomlin, because he is capable of getting away from defenders and getting shots off. It just hasn't happened often enough. It's been too many lofted balls, aerial balls, and they haven't been able to get it down and really attack that Southend defence.
Couple of minutes left of the 90. Gillingham would quite like a few added on, and there might be. There's been some stoppages. Southend in no hurry. Now that their lead is a slender one. Can Gillingham, unlikely as it seemed, save the day yet? Joe Martin skips away from Mosney. Goal kick.
It's amazing how football can change. You have 85 minutes really struggling to create any decent opportunities, then one bit of brilliance and you're right back in the game. And Paul Sturrock now is a manager with a bit of a worried expression on his face.
Final minute. But no easy ride now against Andy Hessenthaler's Gillingham, who would prefer a significant amount of stoppage time in their quest for an equaliser. Martin. Tomlin again. A really special goal from him. He's on his way again here. And it's saved by Morris from Curtis Weston.
Weston just couldn't really get the purchase on the shot, but you see the Southend defenders here. No one wants to make a tackle on Gavin Tomlin. They're just scared of bringing him down. He thinks possibly a shot, but there's just no effort from Curtis Weston. Has no real pace, no real power on it. It's not going to beat the keeper from there.
Southend fans are not going to like this. There's going to be 5 minutes of stoppage time at least. And that's given Gillingham a lift. And suddenly they are believing around the Priestfield Stadium. He certainly is. They've left it late, but now they fancy their chances of a salvage operation. Plenty of time yet for Southend to be worried. Sent away by Kohesi. Launched by Gazaniga towards Danny Kedwell. Curtis Weston. Doesn't trickle through to Kafortha, but Southend anxious.
Curtis Weston there in a great position. The ball sat up. He should have just taken the shot on.
Joe Martin now. Jackman. Gillingham certainly asking questions, but here is Kalala to offer some respite. We know where he's heading. Flag was up for offside against Sampson. Still over 3 minutes at least to go. Tense times for the managers and everyone else inside the Priestfield Stadium. Too close for comfort now for Southend. One by Mosney. Away by Kohesi. Sampson. Asking a bit too much of Ryan Hall, although he's giving it a go. And it does get there. Ahead of Evans, and he's got the throw as well, which will while away a few seconds.
It's really good work from Ryan Hall. They're just looking to run the clock down. That Tomlin goal has really ruffled the feathers of Southend. They're just looking to get to the end of the game, pick up the points, but looking very nervous, just trying to keep the ball down at the Gillingham end.
That's the plan. Although Hall might get up to a bit more here. Sampson. Mosney won it. Andy Hessenthaler playing ball boy. climactic finale after Gillingham got one back. Still a couple of minutes to go. Joe Martin. Out by Prosser. Evans for Payne. Easy take over Morris, bit too easy for Gillingham's liking. Simpson heading for the corner. Payne in and around him. Gillingham have dug it out with Connor Essa. Another minute or so to go. Gary Richards has gone up front now. There's another target man. Centre half. Time to gamble, most definitely. So plenty to aim for. Payne. Will they get that last chance? Jackman, capable of a decent delivery. Away by Mosney. Booted out by Clehesi, nearly there, Southend.
It shows how deep Southend are, because Bilal Mosney is virtually playing as an auxiliary centre-half. He knows those long balls are going to come in there, so he's just dropped a back in between Phillips and Barker to deal with anything that comes into the box.
One more opportunity they want. Will it come here? Jackman takes it. Weston! Handball shout against Mosney, but the referee doesn't give it. He's about to blow the whistle. And Southend United are back on top of League Two. They've halted their recent decline, having lost 3 of their last 4 matches. Paul Sturrock let his players know what he thought on Friday night when they lost to Rotherham, and they responded tonight with an impressive first half showing. Liam Dickinson opened the scoring. Kane Ferdinand was involved in both goals, and his presence led to an own goal from Joe Martin. Gillingham got one back late on, and what a goal it was. You have to feel for Gavin Tomlin. He's scored 5 goals in the last 3 games and has lost every game. Gillingham showed enough in the second half to suggest that they might turn the corner soon, but Paul Sturrock's side appeared to have done just that. And although the likes of Crawley and Swindon have a few games in hand, at least as far as Sturrock and Southend are concerned, they are sitting proudly on top of League Two again, where they've been for much of the season. Let's hear from Kane Ferdinand and Liam Dickinson. There with Patrick.
Kane, Liam, well played. Kane, was that just what the team needed after your recent run?
Yeah, definitely. It's not been the greatest of times for us, so to get back on the rails with an away win, it's been good. Good performance.
Liam, you got it all going at that stage. Did you feel in complete control?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, from the first whistle, we pressed them high up the pitch. We won everything at the back. We got in behind, and I tried to hold the ball up for Kane to run to, and the midfield to come on to, and supported well today. So I think the first half we dominated.
Bit nerve at the end on the bench there.
Yeah, it was. Gillingham are a good team. They did everything us at the end. Great finish, and we're obviously under a little bit of pressure, but I think we did well to hold on the back 4, the midfield 4, and obviously Jack and Kane himself.
Kane, the manager brought you in today. What did he say? What difference did he want you to make?
He basically wanted me to be busy, basically. So whenever Liam will win a flick on, or if Bilal on the right wing win a flick on, I'll be there to pick up the pieces. So
Liam, it takes you top. How big is that for you?
It's massive. We've had a bit of a bad spell at the moment, and Gaffer had us in his office this week, basically saying we need to get back to winning ways if we want to get out of this league, and he's 100% right. And I think the boys reacted positive to that today, and we got the 3 points.
Well, Kane's the Empower man of the match. Will you do the honours for us, Liam?
Yeah, Paul Sturrock very critical of his players after that defeat of Rotherham on Friday night, but in the likes of Ferdinand and Liam Dickinson to open the scoring, he certainly got a reaction tonight. Southend back to winning ways. It's a first win in 5 for them, and more importantly than that, it sends them back to the top of League Two. They spent 10 weeks in total at the top, but it might be only for 24 hours with Crawley and also Cheltenham playing tomorrow night. And importantly, Crawley and Swindon both have 3 games in hand on Southend. For Gillingham, they stay in 10th, but they are still very much in touch of those all-important playoff places. Looking ahead to Friday, more championship action, talking about the playoff picture. Reading just outside it in the Empowered Championship as things stand. We're at the Medeski against Burnley, 7:30, Sky Sports HD2. Nicky Forster a little bit choked by that result. He's been swigging on his water. We'll allow him just to get his voice back and get his thoughts when we come back. But it has been a terrific performance from Southend. I'm afraid from Gillingham, they left it too late to get back into this one. Two sides very much out of form and out of the Priestfield tonight, but it was Southend who were out of the blocks quickest. Liam Dickinson with his 10th league goal of the season, and it was the away side who continued to turn the screw. Joe Martin credited with an own goal in the 31st minute, but it took until the 66th minute for the home side to get their first shot on target, and then Gavin Tolman with a spectacular goal, but in the end it was too little too late. Paul Sturrock applauding his team at the end, and he's now with Patrick Davison.
Paul, if you weren't happy with your last couple of performances, was that much more like it?
Well, there was an attitude and a work rate to the team in the first half. You know, I totally think we merited going in 2-0 up. But as usual, you know, we seem to try and shoot ourselves in the foot. We dropped a couple of gears and 10, 15 yards deeper, and it allowed them to come back into the game again. But the boys have been fantastic tonight. You know, all the criticism I gave them over the weekend, and individually they've rose to the occasion.
You made 4 changes tonight. How big a part did that play in getting some sort of reaction?
I could have made another 4 after the disappointment of the last couple of results, but you know, I think it helped the camp to see that some of the squad players, the boys that have been on the bench, got their opportunity and didn't let us down.
It was nervy at the end. Was that in part, do you think, down to the recent run you've had?
You know, we put a real shift in for about 65, 70 minutes, you know, and then obviously they get the goal, which I think is the tonic, and which is the spur to them, and then hanging on, we're very pleased.
How important is it to you that you go back top?
Well, we've had a horrendous run. I'm saying confidence was dwindling. We needed a win. We needed and put ourselves back in the fray. You know, we've got a difficult running to come. A lot of the top teams have got to play, and we're going to have to sort our home form out. But it's pleasing, maybe only for a day, but as I said, it's the right area of the league we want to be.
Thanks, Paul. Well done.
Thank you.
As it might be a short stay back at the top of League Two, but it's a first win in 5 for Southend. Nicky Forster is alongside me. I mean, Nicky had some very strong things, as we mentioned right at the start, to say about his team after that defeat of Rotherham on Friday. He was looking for a reaction. We might not agree with the way he looked to get it, but my goodness, he got one, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He made 4 changes and he said he could have made another 4. But, you know, first half, I thought, you know, we said the desire, the urgency. They wanted it more, I thought. I thought they played the better football. And I think they worked harder over the 90 minutes. You know, it took a long time for Gillingham to find their feet. They did in the second half when they changed the shape slightly, brought Jack Payne in. He sat just in front of the back 4 and he got on the ball a lot more, passed it around, and they had the lion's share of the possession, certainly second half, but didn't really create enough.
Did the only goal from Liam Dickinson come from that extra work rate, or were they taking advantage of the team that, because of postponements, hadn't played for a couple of matches, they were lacking that sharpness?
It may be fair to say there's an element of both of those in there, but, you know, I thought that, as I say, we spoke about that. You know, you can't allow people to have free headers in the box. You know, you're going to get hurt. And then Liam was just behind Richards, just used his strength just to swivel round him, just hook his foot round the ball, and he's not going to miss from there, is he? Not on the form he's been this season.
Physically up front, did they just pose too many questions for the home side to answer?
Yeah, I think their height was too much, you know, and their strength was too much, and that showed because Hessenthaler made a change in the defence at half-time. 45 minutes, he brought a different defender on. But as I say, when Jack Payne came on, he controlled the game a lot better for Gillingham, and maybe he will look to play him in the next game.
And the second goal given to Joe Martin as an own goal. With all the home fans sat just near us here in the studio, want to know, was this offside not just on 1 count but 2 counts? What's your take as a former striker?
Yeah, I think we've looked at it again and again, and for me, he's certainly not offside there. Frampton's playing him on. As I say, I thought Joe should have taken the touch, played it across there now, but he just hesitated slightly. But again, I think he's just in front of the line, if not in line with it, and Kane Ferdinand isn't behind the line, so you know, in front of the line. So I think that's okay. For me, that's a goal.
Product of them turning the screw in what was a very good half for them, wasn't it?
Very good half. They were well worthy of the 2-0 lead at half-time. And as we said, Gillingham had to come out second half, had to take the game. So much riding on it for both teams. We spoke about that before the game. They had to come out and take the game to Southend in the second half. And to be fair, they did. But they just were a little bit toothless up front, I thought.
Yeah, and eventually they found their teeth. I mean, 66 minutes for the first shot on target from Tomlin, and then eventually the goal came. They seemed to have more of a game plan, particularly in the latter half of that second half.
Well, as soon as they got the goal, there was a belief, and all of a sudden, it looked like the draw was possibly on. I mean, it was a fantastic bit of skill there, wasn't it, by Tomlin? I mean, he got it just on the edge of the ball. It's the little ball just to sell the defender. There it is. He just sells him there. He smashes it near post. Keeper has no chance of stopping that. It was a really nice little bit of skill, and it's what they needed. They needed a little bit of an individual spark to get them in the game, and they got it, but they just didn't have long enough to get that equaliser.
5-3 from Gavin Tomlin. I'm afraid to say, though, for Gillingham, it is now 4 defeats in a row. The first time they've done that since March 2008. Let's hear from their manager, Andy Hessenthaler. It's with Patchy Davidson.
Well, Andy, you fought hard to get back into that, but was the damage done with your first half performance?
Yeah, pretty much. We weren't good enough first half. 2 poor mistakes for the goals, and that's pretty much what it's been like for the last few weeks. And we've got to change things very quickly. Second half, yeah, we did change the shape a little bit. I'd love to have been able to play Jack Payne from the start. He's come on, but he's been out injured for 2 weeks. Done 1 day's training. It was a slight risk, but we had to do it second half. He come on and got us passing. Because we fell into the trap a little bit of the way they played. I don't think they passed the ball particularly well. They just got the ball from back to front, physically out-battled us at times, and and got the 2 goals. But poor defending. We should know better. The senior players at the back.
What do you make of these defensive frailties? Where have they come from?
Well, people not seeing danger, people not doing their job, switching off. And it's got to change. And the pleasing thing for me, second half, we had a right go. And the biggest positives are the kids that come on. I thought Jack Evans at right back, he gave us that attacking threat going forward. Jack Payne obviously is a young one, played a lot of games. Connor Esson came on at the back for the skipper. And the keeper. I thought the keeper was terrific for his first start, felt sorry for him. But, so they're the biggest positives that can come out tonight.
Why do you think you got dragged into, as you say, their kind of long ball style?
Well, it's difficult to say. We've got to get on the ball. We've got to try and pass the football and dictate, and we didn't do that. And we needed to shorten the game up. That's hence the reason why for the change. But I'm not this bit about systems and shapes, and people got to do their jobs. It doesn't matter about shapes. You got to do your job, and you got to pick up and see the danger. And we didn't do that tonight. So you can forget about the systems. It's about players as far as I'm concerned. If you're not going to do your jobs, then you're going to have problems.
How tough is it going to be now for you to get back into playoff contention?
Not tough at all. We've got 18 games. Last season we had a poor start. We missed out on the playoffs in the last game of the season on goal difference. We're in a far better position this time than we was last year. We've just got to now work harder on the training ground. When you're having a rough time, what do? You sink or swim. For me, you carry on swimming and keep working harder. And like I said, the young kids tonight were a credit. They came on, no fear. Maybe that's the route.
Thanks, Andy. Wish you well.
Cheers.
And he did cut a very frustrated figure on the sidelines. Defence continues to be a source of frustration, Nicky. It's now 12 goals they conceded in their last 4. In terms of their promotion hopes, is this their Achilles heel?
I'm not sure about that. They've had good form, and to be fair, they're only 2 points off the playoffs, so they're really where they need to be. I know he would have wanted to win tonight, but there's an honesty about Andy Hessenthaler, isn't there? He's very upfront, he's very frank about what's wrong there tonight, and he said, look, we'll go back to the drawing board, we'll go back to basics, we'll work really, really hard on the training ground, and then take it into a game. And to be fair, you know that he'll do that.
And looking at Southend, the back top of the pile, albeit, as Paul Sturrock said, only perhaps for 24 hours or so. How are they shaping up?
Still nice to be there, though, isn't it? I think they're shaping up well. As I say, I think, with the options they've got going forward, they're big scorers. Liam Dickinson this year, for me, is really sort of knuckled down to being a very, very good professional footballer and scoring goals. And they're relying on him. He's keeping Neil Harris out of the team, for one. So for me, they've got good options. They've got good going forward. And they chip in from goals from all areas, which is nice. So when they've got that blend, I think that they're well worthy of getting that 3rd place.
Nicky, thanks ever so much for your company this evening. Champions League football returns to Sky Sports this coming week. And looking ahead to tomorrow's Bayer Leverkusen against the holders Barcelona, 7 p.m. Sky Sports HD2. Lyon against Apoel, 7:30 Sky Sports HD4. At Wednesday, earlier kickoff, Zenit against Benfica, 5 p.m. Sky Sports HD2. Well, it has been a tough run for both of these sides, but Southend, just when they needed it, have found their touch, and they're back top of the pile.
Tomorrow seems so far away. This moment could be hers. People always say, what you gonna do now? Are you gonna go far? Gonna follow your heart till it stops. She could never say why, cause she's leaving tonight. She would never say why, cause she's leaving. Just she always wanted to get away. Drive across the border, head out to the lakes. Lie beside the water, blinded by the sun. Just she, are you gonna leave town?
Watch all 5 Sky Sports channels on your mobile and online.